Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So former presidential candidate, a Democrat, and Andrew Yang is coming out in strong support of Donald Trump's $2,000 tariff dividend stimulus checks, and he's saying that Democrats should join Trump in getting this bill onto his desk and sending Americans $2,000 checks. In today's video, we're going to be covering everything that you need to know. But before we go ahead and dive into it for today, if you would like to receive up to $200 in free stock or $200 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Robinhood. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then simply link your bank account. You do not even have to make an opening deposit. At that point in time, Robinhood will be sending you one free stock worth all the way up to $200. And if you'd rather just have the cash, all you have to do is once you receive the free stock is just sell it for what it's worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into for today. So former presidential candidate, a Democrat, and Andrew Yang has come out in strong support of Donald Trump's tariff dividend stimulus checks of $2,000, and he's calling on Democrats to join Trump and other Republicans to get a bill in Congress and pass it through both chambers and onto Trump's desk to send Americans $2,000. He says he does not care where this money is coming from, whether it's coming from the tariffs or something else. That $2,000 in the pockets of Americans would certainly be helpful, and this is something that Democrats should join Republicans on and Trump on to get these into the pockets of Americans. He also spoke a little bit about AI, so let's go ahead and roll the clip.
I saw that we're pouring water into a bathtub that has a giant hole ripped in the bottom, and that for every 5, 10, 50 jobs that my entrepreneurs are going to create, we're going to lose 5, 10, 50,000 jobs. Bain says you're looking at between 20 and 30% of jobs subject to automation by 2030, which is pretty soon. It's like 11 years from now.
That's frightening. That was 6 years ago. Do you think we're still on pace to lose 30% of jobs to AI?
It's more certain than ever, unfortunately, Kaylee. And you can see right now big companies are scaling back hiring recent college graduates. You have entire customer service departments being replaced by AI. It's starting to show up in the numbers, and unfortunately that's going to speed up in the coming months. I wish I was wrong back in 2019, but I fear I was right.
And President Trump, he has some interesting ideas to make things more affordable. You talked about so-called freedom dividends. President Trump had an idea for tariff dividends. We brought in all this revenue. He tweeted out that $2,000 he wants to give back to the American people in tariff revenue. Healthcare payments he wants to give directly to the American people and not to insurance companies. Are those proposals you like?
Yeah, I do. Anything that puts buying power into the hands of the average American family is a huge win. By the way, that money is going to go right into local businesses, into keeping the economy robust. One of the things I used to say was that capitalism works a lot better when people have money to spend. And I think it's a great idea, regardless of what the source of the money is. You could say, in my case, it was an AI tax. In Trump's case, it's a tariff tax. But for a family, it would be an enormous win.
So do you think that I know you're not a Democrat anymore, but this seems like a proposal that maybe you could get some Democrats on board with?
Well, they should get on board with it. I mean, the fact is, if they ask the American people, hey, how would you feel about getting a little bit of stimulus-style money coming to your household, everyone would say, yes, please. And Democrats, in theory, should be all for anything that helps, the working class of this country.
So again, $2,000 stimulus checks, something that Andrew Yang is strongly supporting here. Will other Democrats follow his lead? We will have to wait and see. Now, this is something he was also implementing. He was actually kind of going over the idea of possibly having something known as UBI, or Universal Basic Income, back during his election, and something that he also still strongly supports, even though I'm not sure whether or not he's going to consider a run for president in 2028. We will have to wait and see. But you can see up on his website, back in 2020, he said that Andrew would implement the freedom dividend, a universal basic income of $1,000 per month, $12,000 a year for every American adult over the age of 18. This is independent of one's work status or any other factor. This would enable all Americans to pay their bills, educate themselves, start businesses, be more creative, stay healthy, relocate for work, spend time with their children, take care of loved ones, and have a real stake in the future Other than regular increases to keep up with the cost of living, any change to the freedom dividend would require a constitutional amendment. So this is something that he's been advocating for. He's always been for these, stimulus checks or universal basic income. Not sure how it would actually work in theory. And, also on the flip side of things, even though Democrats haven't necessarily come out in support of Trump's $2,000 stimulus check idea, they actually have their own idea of sending out increases for people receiving Social Security benefits, veterans, RRB. This would be a $200 per month increase over the course of 6 months. So Democrats are advocating for an increase to certain Americans for certain Americans. So is it possible they could actually join Republicans on this idea? So according to CNBC, you can see that Senate Democrats are right now proposing an increase to VA Social Security benefits by $200 a month for 6 months. So to help Social Security and Veterans Affairs beneficiaries cope with higher prices, a group of Democratic senators are proposing to increase benefits by $200 per month for 6 months. The bill, called the Social Security Emergency Inflation Relief Act, is backed by Democratic senators, including Mark Kelly of Arizona, Alex Padilla of California, Tammy Duckworth of Illinois, Angela Brooks, and Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, Tina Smith of Minnesota, Kirsten Gillibrand and Chuck Schumer of New York, and Ron Wyden of Oregon, as well as Peter Welch of Vermont. Now, the leaders plan to introduce the proposal on Thursday morning, according to a Warren spokesperson, and the extra $200 per month emergency increase would boost benefit payments through July 2026, according to the senator's proposal. The benefit boost would apply to individuals receiving benefits from Social Security, Supplemental Security Income, or SSI for short, railroad retirement, veteran disability compensation, and veterans pensions. So, we have Democrats on one hand, advocating for an increase for Social Security, veterans, and RRB. And then we have Republicans, or I guess at least Trump, advocating for a $2,000 one-time stimulus check. So both sides, are advocating for help for Americans. It just comes down to whether or not they'll come together in one idea. Democrats are advocating for $1,200. Trump and Republicans, or some Republicans at least, are advocating for $2,000. Maybe they can meet in the middle somewhere, maybe $1,600 stimulus checks or even $2,000. They both have the same idea. It just comes down to whether or not, they want to work together. We will have to wait and see. And also, we've had Democrats in the past advocating for these stimulus checks or UBI. So back when Kamala Harris, the former vice president, whenever she was a senator in the state of California, she was advocating for $2,000 monthly checks, including dependents. So like a family of 5 would be receiving $10,000 throughout the pandemic and then 3 months past the pandemic. So we've seen Democrats in the past also really advocating these things. Democrats usually are very much in favor of stimulus checks. So it really wouldn't be that big of a surprise if we saw the Democrats actually join Trump. It just comes down to whether or not they actually want to give Trump a win right before the midterm elections. We will have to wait and see. But with that said, leave your thoughts and comments below. What do you think is going to happen here? Do you think that Democrats are going to be willing to work with Trump on this proposal to get $2,000 checks in the pockets of Americans, especially if it comes right before the midterm elections coming up next year in 2026? Leave your thoughts and comments below, but that's all we have for today's video, and I will see you in the next one.